a holiday tradition. Written by Ryan Michael McKern. Once a Christmas like no other, we dreamed of living in the Christmas tree forever. End quote. He started at dawn, fully clothed in scarf, draped coat, top hat, leather gloves. He looked upon the hill that stood before his weary eyes, picturesque of snow and blue-gray, landscapes of only imagined and red wax monogrammed letters to be sent by his wife. Dragging the body of the antique red iron sleigh up the coarse rock of the beginning trail, frozen blue hued hill, he stopped and breathed in his painful air as he lay witness to the cemetery afar for which his life lay to rest. Tears in his eye, he then let out one more gust of exhale into the ice-like sky. Grabbed the sleigh, rope upon his bleeding, frost-bit fingers, continued to walk up the hill. He thought, I remember the cocoa and coffee my grandmother would make, simultaneously pulling the wax grips off the sleigh rope tighter upon his bruised and swollen knuckles that would certainly fill the mind and body of warmth and joy. He then heard the snow beneath his boots make a larger, echoing sound, not like the footsteps taken a mile before he started. Those insidious wind howls and loud noises felt of razors inside his eardrum, puncturing into the sinus cavity. Perhaps it was a mirage. Perhaps ammonia had slightly begun to trickle its suggestive way of both audio and visual hallucinations into an unwanted chasm of his mind. No, he whispered faint in his head, holding his head in hand. I am at one. The fireplace awaits. Further, he dredged on as both survival and adrenaline would produce the dopamine needed for such a depleted body to move on. It was halfway up the hill before the paranoia took hold. Consistent looks over the shoulder, sporadic bouts of tears, then joy, a fragment puzzle of a riddle trying to see release. What is this now? He sobbed. Inward, but kept pulling the sleigh forward. In the increasing blizzard winds, and now made visibly unseen below, but just a white blindness inches in front of him. A moment soon came that he felt his lips trapped shut in the tundra around him. To open would cause a bleed out that may cause further internal injury and infection. So he remained his lips sealed and frozen, cracking in pain. Almost weak as the knees shocked, he fell upon the snow, releasing the rope, though the sleigh stayed intact. Despite the angle and decree, if the feet climbed in winds of snow, somehow everything dead still. An eerie yet quietness was all around, despite of what vision he had still had due to the elements. He noticed only a bounding of white snow, and a vibrant rose like red of the trickle of blood, split ever so meticulously to an almost artistic display. Let's start your session. A bombastic voice followed from the sky. What do you want? Face me. Not again will I dredge this hill, he replied back. He fell to his knees out of breath, dehydrated, tired, and at the brink of understanding. Let's start again from the beginning. What do you remember? Why are you here? The voice yet again sounded off, the echo of the hills around him. Do you remember losing her? Do you remember that night in the sleigh? The voice again spoke in a more molasses drawl of tone. Shuffling in a panic, he put his rotting hands around his ears. "It's just a dream," he finally muttered to himself. Hours later, he woke covered in a blanket of snow. Confused and frightened, he looked back to see no sleigh, nothing but silence, and white snow upon the hill. His wounds seemed tended, and his mouth able to speak without the pain of frostbite restrained. He then noticed a bright light above the sky, and what appeared to be small twinkling of Yule lights. "The patient is catatonic," a voice from above said. 3 doctors looked over the patient, bounded with restraints to his bed, keeping him unable to remove himself and under sedation, motionless, only his eyes open, giving an occasional fluttering movement to the ceiling above. No progress today. The patient showed signs of continued self-harm, clawing at the walls in an almost climbing motion, attempting to escape his room while motioning to be somewhat pulling something behind him. After the doctors take note, the second doctor speaks. "Keep him on the lithium dose prescribed. What we need to know, why was he found in the hill pulling the dead body of his wife? Furthermore," the doctor projected while sipping coffee and wiping his stethoscope. He spoke once more. "What was the light they kept speaking of?" He conveyed of the medical staff, jotting vigorously of the weathered-down clipboard he hugged close to his winter-themed tie. "That was this of the light on top of the hill?" He asked again of the patient. As the doctors left the room, the patient slowly turned his head to the right of the bed, where an end table was placed. Blue-veined, sunken-eyed, and mouth wide open, he exhaled a long breath. In his eyesight upon the table laid a snow globe, which inside depicted a cabin with a lantern lit in the right window and a Christmas tree outside. "Let's start your session." The end. Thank you for joining me on this Christmas story horror. Blessings to you and your family and yours, and have a wonderful holiday season. I am Ryan McKern, and thank you for joining the wicked webs we weave. Au revoir.